I'm hoping this will help somebody out who needs to spray Raptor Liner. This is my 03 F350. It was rusted all to hell and beat up, and I just didn't think it was worth spending the money to have it professionally painted, even though I did reach out to a few body shops and asking them, would they be interested. Most of them didn't even want to mess with it. I was quoted some astronomical figures as far as basically restoring the truck, or is what they consider it when you have to repaint and pound out all the dents. So I decided to do it myself and do Raptor Liner. So turned out pretty good. What I ended up doing was buying the cheap $15 Purple Harbor Freight gun. This guy here. I've read forums, YouTube videos. Everybody has their own way of doing it. What worked for me was drilling this out to 2 millimeters. I used a 10% reducer, which I bought this stuff from O'Reilly's, worked great. And I mixed 8% this metallic dark shadow Ford original color gray. The truck was white, I didn't like it, so I changed color. It turned out great. The texture is just right. It's not so rough that it holds the dirt, but it's not so smooth that it doesn't look like bed liner. It really broke up a lot of the imperfections that I didn't want to spend the time doing the body work for. And of course it adds the Raptor Liner protection as long as you mix it how they tell you to mix it. Obviously if you thin it out too much, you're not going to have the same protection value, but it turned out really good. I'm pretty pleased with it. It looks a little streaky on camera. To the eye it doesn't. Obviously the iPhone has better vision than I do, and everybody I've showed it to has not mentioned anything about the streakiness. When I ask them about it, they can't see it, so for whatever reason it shows up on the phone. But the texture turned out perfect. Mixing it, as mentioned, again, that was a 10% reduction with the cheap O'Reilly reducer, and 8% of the semi-metallic paint that I used to get the right consistency. I tried going the full 10% with the paint just to have a more solid color, and it kind of came out more of a sandpaper-ish, almost of a dry feel. This way it has a nice kind of wet, little bit glossy look to it, and I think that's really that plastic effect of the polyurethane type paint coming through, because I don't want this to hold dirt or dust. That's a big complaint about a lot of the Raptor Liner, is that how bad it holds dirt and how hard it is to clean, and guys Cerakote it and all that. So hopefully I don't have to do that with this type of sheen on here. I just sprayed this about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. I'm fortunate enough to have a heated garage, so I cranked it up to 90 degrees in here and let it cook. Yeah, so I didn't make a paint booth because the area of the country I live in is a windy place to live, and you just never know what the weather's going to be like. So I decided that it was best to just go old school with it. My truck barely fits in the garage, otherwise I would have made a paint booth in the garage, but there just wasn't room. So I just used the old school method of wetting the floor, keeping everything wet. You can spray this stuff up to 60% humidity or less as far as your atmosphere goes when you're spraying, and ideal temperature is 67 degrees. So I was able to control the temperature of my garage, heat it up as necessary to help it cook off. But as you can see, and I live in a high desert, and as you see, there's no dust or fuzzies or nasties or anything like that. Of course, I wiped everything down with a microfiber cloth, blew it off real good, made sure that there was no contaminants or anything on the door before spraying it, or on the surface before spraying it. I used an automotive etching primer prior to putting on the Raptor Liner. They recommend that you do that just for maximum adhesion if you can't sand it and if the paint's missing. I just figured I'd do both. I hit the whole thing with 80 grit, and then I hit it with a dry spray of the automotive primer, which I just used the cheap Rust-Oleum stuff, and it's, as far as I can tell, it adhered great. I didn't have any issues with runs. Even when I painted some of the vertical panels on the truck, say like the fenders, I didn't have anything issues with runs. I mean, this stuff's pretty thick anyways. Even after you reduce it, it's still pretty viscous, viscosity, high viscosity. I don't know, I'm retarded, I don't know how to talk, but it has a pretty high viscosity even when it's reduced. So hopefully this helps somebody decide how they want to go about painting their truck with Raptor Liner. And it turned out really good for me. I mean, for example, and I guess I could post some pictures later on, but this door, you can still see a little bit of a dent here. That was the best I could do, because this door, the previous owner had tried to pound it out and basically just beer can crumpled that door, and I spent hours and hours trying to straighten it out the best I could, because everything's so expensive right now. I couldn't even find a replacement door in my area for less than 800 bucks, and I thought, you know what, it's worth my time. I'll spend a couple of days trying to straighten it out in my free time, and it really covered up a lot of the imperfections. This stuff hides a lot of sin. Like they say, paint hides a lot of sin. Well, Raptor Liner hides a hell of a lot of sin. So yeah, hope this helps somebody. And if you have any questions or comments, just let me know. I'll do what I can to answer them and help you out. Thanks for watching.